What is up, and welcome to SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess. I'm here with my favorite Underdog fantasy plays for Friday, February 14th, 2025. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, sign up with promo code DailyDog. It's DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. That will get you 50% deposit match bonus worth up to $1,000. That's as good as deposit match bonuses get on Underdog. So, support a smaller show, smaller channel. Sign up there. Don't let friends sign up with worse promo codes. Promo code DailyDog, DAILYDOG, one word, at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. Happy Valentine's Day. It's kind of a slow sports day in the grand scheme of things. I mean, this show, we primarily focus on NBA and NHL this time of year, but that is not on the menu as both leagues are on break. The Four Nations Faceoff is going on in the NHL. We got some picks for that later. And then NBA All-Star, I really wanted to get involved in NBA All-Star, but it's just, there's too many weird rules. The way the game is played is strange. I even was thinking about Rising Stars, but playing to 40, it just really limits, the way that you can get guys to score. Like, it's just it's just a crapshoot for the Rising Stars game. They're playing till 40 in the early rounds there. So somebody's probably going to have double digits, and then a lot of other people are going to have 3 points, and I have no idea who's who. Like, I thought Zach Edey might be a good look, but I'm not sure because, again, I'm not sure how they're going to be used. I don't know how these games are going to play out. So I am going to be abstaining from that one. But I am going to be getting into college basketball this evening, a lighter slate, but still some spots I'd like. So we're going to go with Robbie Avila, higher the 1.5 3-pointers made for SLU, St. Louis University, as they take on Loyola Chicago. Robbie Avila was hot from 3 in his last game, close game. I think that he's going to keep it up here. Higher than 1.5 3-pointers made gives us a little bit of an enhanced multiplier as well. I mean, it's really a volume thing for him. Some games he'll shoot 1,000,000 threes, and sometimes he'll shoot 2. So we are playing on a knife's edge here, but I do think that Loyola is not necessarily good defensively. I think Avila is going to throw up enough shots here in Chicago to get this 1.5 3-pointers made for us. And we're going to pair that with Skyy Clark of UCLA, higher than 7.5 points for UCLA as they take on Indiana. I just think Indiana isn't exactly defensively sound. I think Skyy Clark, he can get into the double digits fairly easily. He doesn't always shoot enough. He doesn't always shoot efficiently enough to get there. That's why this number is so low. But I do think in this matchup, UCLA is going to score some points on the road. So give me Skyy Clark higher than 7.5 points. That is a 3.51x multiplier. Let's go to college basketball entry number 2. I'm going to go with Oumar Ballo, higher than 2.5 turnovers for Indiana. I just think UCLA plays really good defense. I think the 7-footer is going to lose the ball a couple times here, or a few times, I should say, for 3 turnovers, higher than 2.5 turnovers for Oumar Ballo against UCLA. Again, I just think that defense is going to stifle the big man a little bit. I think he can still have a fine game, but I just think that he's going to have trouble holding onto the ball, and there's going to be some errant passes forced and whatnot. So give me Oumar Ballo, higher than 2.5 turnovers. And then Nick Davidson of the Nevada Wolf Space Pack against San Jose State, higher than 17.5 points. This guy's primary scorer for this team. San Jose State just put a lot on the line in a loss for San Diego State. I don't necessarily think they're going to have their best performance here. I think the best scorer on Nevada is going to be able to have a good game. So Oumar Ballo, higher than 2.5 turnovers. And Nick Davidson, Oumar Ballo, higher than 2.5 turnovers, and Nick Davidson, higher than 17.5 points, 3x multiplier. Those are our college basketball slips. Now let's get into our entries for tennis starting later this afternoon. Taylor Fritz, higher than 21.5 games played. Really, I think that he's going to be in a little bit of a dogfight here. Fritz is also a serve dominant player. So I think that Taylor Fritz, they could be getting into some tie breaks here. And I think that could obviously push this thing over. Alejandro Davidovich-Fokina is a very athletic player, a tough player, a guy who kind of drags out matches. So 3 sets should be on the menu here, higher than 21.5 games played. This number is kind of lined like ADF. Davidovich-Fokina is going to be a pushover. Just in general, this guy plays a lot of 3-set matches. He went 3 against Mackenzie McDonald. He crushed Taro Daniel, but that one still went 21 games there. And then when he's played Fritz before, 2 out of their 4 matches have gone to the deciding set. Last time they played was in 2022, so not too recent of history there, but I do think Taylor Fritz, higher than 21.5 games played with some tiebreakers on the menu, is a good look. Then I'm going to go with Lorenzo Musetti, lower than 0.5 sets lost against Pedro Martinez. Martinez, nice clay court player, but just nowhere near the class of Musetti. Musetti just, had a really straightforward one against Quarantine Mutet, who can be a tough player on clay. I think Musetti gets this one done in straights. That is a 3x multiplier. Let's go to tennis entry number 2. Brandon Nakashima, lower than 23.5 games played against Matteo Arnaldi. I just think that one of these guys is going to have an off day. They're both really inconsistent players. This is assuming that they're both going to kind of, be serving well. And both these guys, their whole games are fluctuated around or revolve around the serve. So I think one of these guys could have an off day, potentially Arnaldi being in Delray Beach. But Nakashima has laid some eggs against competitive players like Arnaldi before. So I think that this one could be a shorter match. Brandon Nakashima, lower than 23.5 games played. And then later, we're going to go with Alycia Parks, higher than 21.5 games played. I think that we're going to see 3 sets in her matchup with fellow American Bernarda Pera. Again, these women are both very competitive. I think that there could be a throwaway first set, and then the match starts after that. These women played once before in 2025 on grass, or 2024, on grass, so I'm not going to give too much credence to that one. Pera's form overall isn't exactly great right now, but I think that they should be able to extend this match to a third set. So Nakashima lower than 23.5 games played, Parks higher than 21.5 games played, 3x multiplier. All right, let's move on to Saturday. We're going to go with Four Nations Faceoff number 1, Rickard, Rakell, higher than 2.5 shots. I think that they just need him to be shooting quite often. Rakell, he's had a really productive scoring year for the Penguins, so I think that Sweden's going to need him to get the puck on net. So higher than 2.5 shots here for Rickard, Rakell, however you want to say it. Looking at his last game, Rakell had 3 shots on goal against Canada in that competitive match. I don't think that that's going to change here, so higher than 2.5 shots. Then with Auston Matthews, higher than 0.5 goals in USA versus Canada. Matthews, obviously a big-time player, and he's familiar with playing, being a spoiler in Canada as well. So give me Auston Matthews, higher than 0.5 goals. This is a nice 4.93x multiplier. By the way, we've hit a Four Nations Faceoff entry the last 2 shows, so let's keep it live here. Four Nations Faceoff number 2, Arturi Lehkonen, higher than 1.5 shots. This seems like it should be very, very achievable. Finland needs offense. They need him to get puck on net. He smashed this number in the last game against USA. So I think Lehkonen, again, he's having an okay season in the NHL, and I think that they need him to do it here. He had 4 shots in that game versus the USA, by the way. Then we're going with Brady Tkachuk, higher than 0.5 goals. I mean, the guy knows how to play in Canada. And also Tkachuk is, he had a hot game 1. I think that's going to keep up. So Arturi Lehkonen, higher than 1.5 shots. Brady Tkachuk, higher than 0.5 goals, 5.28x multiplier. All right, let's get on to the UFC. Edmund Shabazian, higher than 0.5 knockouts against Dennis Budka. I think Budka is NFL, not for long in the UFC. I don't think he's very good. I think that he's going to try to wrestle, and it is going to cost him. I think as long as, Shabazian manages to, choose his shots wisely, the KO should be here just because as a striker, Budka is not there at all. So give me Shabazian higher than 0.5 knockouts in this matchup. Obviously, the concern with him is that if this fight goes to a second or third round, he is very well known for gassing and letting opponents get better of him in situations they should not. Then we're going to go with Rodolfo Vieira, higher than 0.5 submissions against Petrosky. Petrosky is a wrestler. You don't want to wrestle Rodolfo Vieira because Petrosky is the kind of guy who will submit anybody. He's a world champion BJJ guy. If this is a grappling match at all, which I expect it to be, unless they both are afraid to wrestle because they both know that that's the other guy's strength. If this gets on the ground, though, Vieira is going to get the sub. So I do expect the favorite to get it done in his favorite fashion. If Shabazian gets the knockout and Vieira gets the submission, it's a 3.76x multiplier. All right, UFC number 2, we're going to go with Gabriel Bonfim against Chaos Williams, higher than 34.5 significant strikes landed. Bonfim is a accurate striker, not a very powerful striker. Williams has a very bad striking defense. I think that he's going to have plenty of opportunity to land 34.5 significant strikes. He just needs to avoid getting knocked out before he gets his 35th strike landed. But I'm not too worried about that. I think his defense will be sound, at least early, and we'll get to the, hopefully deep into the second round or third round before someone gets a finish and we can get over 34.5 significant strikes. Last one, main event, Gregory Rodriguez higher than 0.5 knockouts against Jared Cannonier. I know Cannonier, great fighter. He's just over the hill. Rodriguez is surging. I think Rodriguez is going to get his favorite type of finish, a knockout here. This is a 3x multiplier. All right, that's all I got for you today. Good luck on all your picks this weekend, and let's make some money.